like Eric Clapton.
Sounded like we worked out an ending.
On the fly, I just heard this. Stop, that means stop.
Hi. We haven't told them hi yet.
Hi!
Hi! Say hi.
Hi.
I'm Rob Chappers.
I'm Eric from Clapton.
And this is Dave from Hollingworth. And all three of us, without knowing it, are Eric Clapton, Jack Bruce.
I'm Ginger Rogers. And wasn't she a dancer? Or
She
Ginger
was-
Baker. I'm even Ginger Baker. You look a bit like Ginger
He
Baker.
made amazing cakes,
Don't you
that
think
guy.
he looks a bit like Ginger Baker?
Well,
if you had ginger hair as opposed to blonde hair, you'd be
and
Ginger
if you were
Baker.
50
Then I
years...
look like Newton Faulkner.
Yes.
A bit like who looks a bit like Ginger Baker. So, and we have in the past done a series of videos called Sound Like Someone for under £1,000. And one of the videos that I've wanted to do for a long time, because he's a big hero of mine, was Sound Like Eric Clapton for under £1,000.
Which has been the easiest so far.
Well, I don't know about the easiest, because we did a bit of research, because I think Clapton has definitely been through a lot of sort of tonal changes in his career. He's obviously super famous for playing his Blackie Strat, so I've got this kind of Mexican Strat here. He's equally famous for playing, you know, Les Pauls and SGs and 335s. And I think he's kind of gone from, you know, a Yardbirds into Cream kind of very 60s, 70s kind of Marshall-y tone with the Gibson stuff into his 80s, kind of that time when he did that sort of some of his solo albums and perhaps August, and you know when he was sort of more into his kind of that very mid-range boosted Fender tone, into more recently where he's sort of gone back to this very earthy kind of just vintage blues kind of tone.
Well, the cool thing is that I was a big fan, still am a big fan of Cream, and my friend here, the Captain Clapton, is a big fan of when Eric left Cream and did the sort of more solo stuff. So we've got those tones on tap. Dave doesn't know much about Clapton, do you?
Well, I know that in recent years he's given up guitar and started playing Warwick basses.
Really? Wow, that's amazing.
Slightly lesser known.
Did he do slap versions of
did.
Sunshine of Your Love? And if he did Alex, there you go. I think he's going to go a long way.
So I think what we're going to do, as Rob has got the sort of the 60s and 70s kind of Cream tone.
Slow hand.
We're going to basically just go, we've got, this is how we're going to put the rig together. Remember, we have a budget of about £1,000. That's what we're trying to do. So we have 3 Epiphone guitars that are all kind of Clapton-esque for that period. We have a Marshall JMP-1. That's where we spent most of our budgets. The JMP-1 is a 1-watt recreation of an old Marshall JMP head. Strictly speaking, what I would have loved to have had was the 1-watt JTM, which would have been more like the Clapton Blues Breaker.
But we've sold out.
But as it was a limited edition amp for the beginning of 2012, that we've sold out of now. So this is the kind of closest I can get to, and we're running it through a 1936 cab. So the whole budget here, and actually we're not using any pedals, even though Chappers has got some pedals at his feet, we're not using those.
I used the pedal for my solo boost.
Did you? Just to boost it over?
I used the Wampler Pinnacle, but I turned almost all the gain off and had all of the volume in, and lots of high end.
So this is probably about £1,100. So we didn't quite do it. I must admit, we could have done it by using one of the new Marshall DSL amps, but it's just a slightly too modern a Marshall tone. We needed vintage Marshall tones.
Yes.
This is brilliant, by the way, for any Clapton sort of Cream fan that just wants to play at home, because the little 1-watt heads are very, very home use.
Now, when Captain said to me it's going to be Epiphone guitars, I had that slight percentage of apprehension about me. Because as you probably know, I love high-end guitars and just, you know, things that are always going to be great.
Yeah.
And in my experience, sometimes Epiphones haven't always had the best, you know, perfect fret work and everything's been level. There have been a couple of issues. But we picked this up and immediately all of my worries were set aside, because the one thing they've done right is they've got the fretwork perfect. It's the same action here as the action is pretty much here. It's an Indonesian-made legend of an SG, and I really, really like this guitar.
So just without the rest of us playing, just do that kind of classic kind of, you know, either just stay with Sunshine of Your Love or...
We get it ready?
Yeah. It's
Wait,
perfect. Sounds just like
who turned me off? I turned me off. the secret of playing Clapton is the double stops.
Right.
That's what makes him sound. Because if you go, that isn't particularly Clapton. He always does this thing as well.
Now, I must admit, I don't think there's a single Gibson guitar that is kind of, what's the right word? I was going to say eponymous, but that's not the right word.
Eponymous?
Synonymous.
Synonymous.
It's
Hippopotamus.
There's not one. It's not like Fender Blackie, where that's the synonymous kind of Fender that he would use. So what I thought we'd do is just quickly change through an SG, a 335 style, and a Les Paul.
Hold on. So.
Too much gain, I think, on that lead solo thing for Clapton.
Too much gain for some, maybe not for others.
So
We'll
try
immediately chop
335.
over.
Try 335 now again. Oh, Clapton, you probably saw in the Cream days was more of a cherry-coloured 335, but you know I've seen him with sunburst ones as well. So whatever.
Is this in 60s tuning?
Hopefully. Basically the same as Sunshine of Your Love.
I was just literally going to say, I just suddenly realised it's the same as Sunshine of Your Love.
Almost the same, isn't it?
But it's I thought you were going to sing something then. We'll do it. Sing something really inappropriate and we'll bleep it out.
I can't. I was going about it.
Squelchy mid-range.
It has, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of a woody open thing. I'm noticing that if you pick really hard on it, it sounds great. Kind of guitar I imagine Phil X doing absolute justice to, and not myself.
So, and let's try the Les Paul.
Clapton was big on 9 chords, wasn't he?
You know, the woman, that woman tone thing is pretty nailed on. Neck pickup, bit of the treble. What was the lick you were playing just? You were just going to do the solo from Sunshine of Your Love again, which... That's really good.
It's a
really
fat sound. It's a chod of fatness, full fat.
Chod of tone.
So, and then kind of Clapton, sort of when I kind of...
He went, leave all that fatness and chodness behind.
Yeah, I think
I go skinny man.
I think my first Clapton album was August, you know, the one where you see him in the suit and he's got the beard and he's kind of looking like a little bit like cleaned up, stopped doing all the drugs and everything like that.
Like me?
Yeah. And And I don't know, I suppose it was very studio sounding, that album. I remember he had the band was like a real shit hot bunch of session musicians, wasn't it? Who was it Nathan East and
You know who?
Chester Thompson on drums, I think.
Phil Collins was the man behind all that.
Was he really?
He was the guy who sorted him out, really.
So, and it kind of, his sound changed. I think he then, at that point, became kind of synonymous with the whole Strat sort of sound. And I remember, and I've just got a Mexican Strat here. So my rig is like a 400-pound Mexican guitar and a 600-pound Fender sort of Blues Deluxe type amplifier, just to give you that kind of classic, kind of clean sound. Yeah, I wouldn't have said that that's a terribly Clapton-y kind of sound. But what I tried to do was that the American signature Clapton, he had this kind of 25 dB mid boost.
Yeah. And you've used the mid boost.
So what I've tried to do is take a slightly dirty sound on the amp, which is starting to get a little bit there. If I put in the TC Spark, which is just a kind of just a general boost pedal, we're starting to get. And then I've got a Boss EQ pedal as well, which just kind of gives it that.
Can I just say, this just goes to show how clever Captain Lee is and how he's thought about this, because I hadn't even looked at your floor.
Yeah.
But what you've done is you've gone, what kind of tone is he in an EQ band? And then you thought, what pedals would work with that?
Yeah.
I'll use a mid-boost booster and I'll put more mid in with a G7 equalizer.
Yeah.
And you've got a really, really good approximation.
Well, I kind of noticed that the maximum boost I can get from the Boss pedal is a 15 dB boost, and the Clapton boost is 25 dB. Now,
really,
if I remember rightly, this is my physics lesson here, every 3 dB of boost is a doubling of the amount of level.
Is that right, Dave?
So essentially, we've doubled the level 8 times. So I don't mean it's 8 times as loud. I mean, we physically doubled the level 8 times. So I don't even know what that is, like 1,000,000 times louder or something. So that's, and it's not really coming through as volume. That's why I put it on the slightly gainy channel. I just think it's a great sound. And I'm predominantly using the out of phase. Oh, let's just put my pedals in again. So you do start to get that very Clapton-y kind of sound.
You do if you can play like you. Because what's happening is it on the sustained notes with your vibrato, it goes wah! There's like almost like a slight wah effect to it when it kind of picks up that harmonic.
Yeah. If I was any good with a wah, I would have used one as well, because that was the other kind of pedal that all those kind of solos had. I can't think about two things at once.
There's a bit of a running joke where Lee says I'm no good with the wah. So what we're going to do, because we've got Dave Hollingworth here from the amazing band Dorje, of whom you might have heard. Dave is designing a bass, so look out for that. But now we thought we'd just jam, and we thought what we'd do is I'm just going to put Dave on the spot and say come up with something cool in A blues, and we'll just take it in turns to, you know, commit blues aside.
Yes, that is a good idea. I was just thinking to myself, where can I get some? Just got to rip off some Clapton licks here.
And if this ever becomes released, we're calling it blues aside.
So,
Oh, I missed it.
I hope.
I think we've successfully done justice to
I
the
hope
tones
so.
of Eric Clapton.
I hope so. So, kind of, if you're a Cream fan, you want to rig something like Rob's, pick yourself up a nice Epiphone guitar. I think actually out of the three, the SG sounded the most Clapton-esque. Did you?
SG sounded the most Clapton-esque. This one played the nicest to me.
Okay,
I thought
cool.
this one felt really, really nice.
I'm really happy with the tone that I got. I mean, I know.
But that's because you're playing the Captain rig, really, aren't you?
It's well. Do you know what though? You say that. I mean, I know that I'm very familiar with the amp. You know, Hot Rod Deluxe sell heaps and heaps of those.
Oh, that's new for you, though, the Spark.
Yeah, the Spark pedal, which we've used 2 or 3 times over
It's
the
kind
last
of been
couple of
pedal
days.
of the week, isn't it, really?
It's like take an average amp sound and make it better.
Plus one.
Yeah, it's a good pedal. And do you know what? As well, I have to say, hats off to TC. I don't think this pedal has really come out under the radar. Didn't have any fuss about it. It's only been out 2 or 3 months or something, but really like this.
I've been Chappers Clapton.
I've been Quick Hand, Slow Hand, Captain Slow Hand.
I've been Dave from Hollingworth.
Chappers out.